Don't you want papas everywhere to have a happy Father's Day and not a sad Father's Day? Well, our friends at Manscaped want to help with that with a toolbox of toys in the bathroom shed. And dads like saving money, so you can get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BATBOOK. Now, we know dads love lawn care, and the Performance Package 4.0 has all the right gear to maintain that front yard. Included is the Lawnmower 4.0, which whips around the hills and creates a smooth, short, grassy knoll. Martha got one for her husband on their honeymoon, and look what happened. We got a Cape Crusader. After the lawn, you have to clip the weeds, and the Weed Whacker trims those hard-to-reach annoyances in your nose and ears. Talia bought one for her dad, and he feels reborn. And if you're looking for comfort, the Boxers 2.0 are packed with revolutionary features like the Jewel Pouch, which cradles the boys in their own special space. It's such a breakthrough in undergarments, you'd think Luke Fox's dad created it himself. So whether it's for your dad, your husband, or yourself, take care of lawn care this Father's Day at manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BATBOOK. BATBOOK, BATBOOK.
All it takes is one bad day.
You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit, but your feast is nearly over.
This is not my home. It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon. Why aren't you laughing?
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
Welcome to the Batman Book Club, a podcast exploring the Dark Knight Library. I'm your host, Ryan Lauer. The Batman Book Club is a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Just go to batmanonfilm.com, click on podcasts, and you'll find the Batman Podcast Network that has a whole list of other Bat-related shows that also like to dive into other nerdy subjects we all love to frolic about in our free time. And the Batman Book Club is also on Patreon if you like what's going on with the show and you want to help support the show to keep those generators running and the Wayne Manor study. You can do that. Just go to patreon.com/thebatmanbc. Now, thank you for listening to episode 108, Batman in May. As you probably know by now, I don't do these episodes alone. And I mean, at this point, this is basically my co-host because you just heard him the last time around. He's one half of the dynamic duo on Straight Outta Gotham. He's an associate producer of this show, and he's also the assistant of Final E33. It's Peter R. Verra. Peter, thank you for coming back.
I'm just happy to frolic on your podcast.
You're a frolicker. Yes,
I don't frolic as much as you, but you definitely frolic the most. But if there's someone who frolics after, I frolic after you.
Okay, well, bless your soul. And also, Pete's done the work. We know what we're doing here. Our monthly wrap-ups. This is the, this is like the 14th time we've done this. So, I mean, it's all supposed to be easy from here, right? No, because we have 30 books to talk about.
Come on, man. Yeah.
30 books to talk about. So let's not waste any more time. Let's hop into Batman in May. Now, Batman number 123 came out the first Tuesday of May 3rd. Continuing the Shadow War story. I'm not going to talk about all of it here because I'll talk about this issue, and then at the end are all the other tie-in books, and so then we can talk about Shadow War as a whole there. But as far as Batman 123,
that's key for Ryan didn't like the story.
Keep you in suspense. Batman 123, I actually thought of the issues last month for Shadow War. I thought this Batman issues, just this alone on its own, it was okay. I thought I was a little more invested in each chapter from last month. And then, the Batman book, which is supposed to, so it's in the Batman title, so it should be much more focused on Batman. I didn't really feel like it was. Some dramatic events, spoiler alert, with Deathstroke's family ramped it up dramatically in that issue. If I'm remembering correctly, it was this Batman issue. It was all right. I mean, it definitely wasn't like bad. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the greater story ties into what Williamson's doing with Deathstroke. This is more of a tie-in issue to a Deathstroke story, right? Like that's kind of how this feels.
Yeah.
So you get some good character moments with Batman and Robin in the jail cell, interrogating the guy.
There you go. That good point right there.
Mhm.
I'm known here for not liking Damian. And actually, I really like that interrogation scene at the beginning that they opened up with. And I liked Damian in that scene as well.
This artwork feels very Freddie Williams. We were talking about him earlier off air, but it feels kind of Freddie Williams to me.
Is that Howard Porter?
Yeah.
On that one? Yeah. I like Howard Porter.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I actually liked the backup story. I know you didn't read it because you refused to read those. But that was a what?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah. No, this was a good one. This is a really good Joker Deathstroke. Again,
I read that.
Centered. Okay.
I did read that.
Oh no, I read
that.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. I'm your guy, pal. I thought that was a fantastic Joker Deathstroke story. You know, didn't really like the design of the Joker's smile, but like whatever, I'll let that pass.
If that's like your biggest nitpick, then that's because I'm with you. It totally looks like he just got really bad with lipstick.
Yeah, it's very like okay, right. But yeah, no, definitely. The middle part of just jumping ahead real quick, not going to ruin it, but this is like the middle part of Shadow War that was kind of like meh.
Yeah.
And just at the end it really picked up, but like, yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay, issue, some cool Batman moments. The backup was better than the primary, which is a trend that we've actually been seeing lately, which I kind of find fascinating. I haven't been reading Action Superman. I had to drop that title due to financial concerns, but it wasn't because I didn't enjoy it. Just something had to get cut. So I don't know what those backup stories are doing, but for Batman, Wonder Woman, those are the ones I have been reading. Really good stuff. So really impressed. And that's on all their multiple titles. I'll say that too.
All right. There you go, Batman 123. And we'll talk about Shadow War in like 30 minutes or something. Moving along that same Tuesday, it was a busy Tuesday. Batman Killing Time #3 by Tom King and Marquez. I forget his first name. Shame on me. I had it. Here we go. David Marquez, who gives a very Molina look to his work.
Yes, I'll agree to that. Yeah.
Who Tom King works with. What do you think of this one? Because I know you really enjoyed the first two issues.
I really like this one. The help was very fascinating to me. I can't remember. Is this a character you remember from anywhere?
Oh,
previously?
No,
brand new. Yeah, because there's another character that actually appears in print for the first time. We'll discuss that later. So the help was very fascinating. I like the whole concept of Batwoman and Riddler and the Batmobile was very interesting. Batman fighting a foe he can't physically beat was fascinating, especially when the foe knows all his trainers and all the moves. Again, just Tom King killing it. I was a big fan of this overall. Just everything was really into it. I like this Batman on a motorcycle picture, a panel. I'm sorry. It's really well done. Big fan of this title. This title is probably one of the ones I look forward to whenever it comes out. I have no idea if it's on delay. I feel like all Tom King's like extracurricular Bat books always get delayed, but really.
No, I think this has been on time. On time every time, and at least the next issue is set for release.
Big huge fan. I mean, to be honest, I might be digging Tom King's post Batman run work more than his Batman run, and that includes Batman Catwoman being kind of iffy because that Christmas special was something else. Yeah, like that picks up. And also like he's actually writing. Like I feel like especially in Killing Time, there's dialogue and interaction, right? Like how many times did we just read a King book while he was writing Batman proper and it was just or nothing. Like he did like grunts and then it was a lot of action panels. But yeah, big fan. Now that I've extended my welcome, what about you?
Well, to clear the air, I loved his Batman run. But I don't disagree with you at all either that it felt like there were multiple issues that were sound effects.
There was like nothing.
And then the issue was over. And I was like, well, that took me about 2.5 minutes to go through. Okay.
I wish we did the review episodes back It would have been a delight. Like, oh, it's just pictures.
We could read it. We could read it while recording, and you would not be able to tell. No, I thought I'm gonna have a hard time because I read this just the once at the very beginning of the month, so I forget specifically what all happened. But I'm flipping through right now and looking at it, and yeah, I think the artwork I think is outstanding. I'm not familiar with David Marquez's work, but I think it definitely looks like Molina's work, who Tom King's worked with a lot. And I take that as that's meant as a compliment for sure. But I feel like this is halfway finished. I feel like there's a lot of story in here, and we still have 3 more issues of this caliber of story to go still,
yeah,
there's a lot, and I'm trying to remember.
He's gonna wrap it up. He wraps things up pretty well for as crazy or as whatever. I mean, that includes something like Heroes in Crisis as well. Like by the time things get wrapped up in a King book, you know what's happened. So I'm not worried about that. It's not like after I read Grant Morrison, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that it may be like breaking it down event wise that physically happen in this story maybe isn't as much, but as far as it's because his time jumping and his storytelling, which I know I said last month that I kind of like, and maybe I was just in the mood last month that I felt a little like, oh, okay, can we just go linear, for once? But yeah, I really like killing time, and halfway through, if it remains at this level, I'll definitely get the hardcover when it's collected and released, because I'm really digging this. Moving on, Flashpoint Beyond #1. Pete, I almost, after we talked about issue 0 last month, I almost lost a friend. A writer extraordinaire, Tim Sheridan. He got a hold of me and he said, you said that Flashpoint Beyond is only 5 issues. It's 6. Get it right or keep this story off your episode. And so I thoroughly apologize to you, Tim Sheridan. Flashpoint Beyond was issue 0 and then six issues. So there you go. Clearing the air there, Pete.
Oh, no.
Definitely kidding. I did talk to Tim Sheridan though. Told him that I really like this because I really like this.
It's good. I enjoyed it. It's great, actually.
Really digging Flashpoint Beyond.
Oswald stuff is very interesting. It's an interesting take,
right?
This version of Oswald is a very interesting version.
You're an Oz connoisseur, a Cobblepot connoisseur.
Just a fan.
And I feel like this Penguin is the complete opposite of the Penguin that we know. He's kind of like a coward. He's an assistant. He will like.
I don't want to say coward, but he's clearly not the power-driven, antagonist that we're used to.
Well, he gives me such the vibe of like the ass kisser to Thomas Wayne. And not because you can see assistance in like how you assist Eric. You're not an ass kisser about it. Oz here, he definitely, I don't know, to me he does just seem like a little bit of a shrill of a man. But I mean, he's very entertaining this version too.
Well, I don't want Oz to steal the show here because this is more of a Flashpoint. He's just a side character, but the stuff with Aquaman was interesting. I don't want to spoil it because I want you to go out and read it because this is a really good comic book. I mean,
agreed.
I don't know who's actually not reading it, to be honest. It's a sequel to Flashpoint. Like I feel like everyone who reads comics is reading this outside of a certain group of hashtaggers. So this is just, I was like, oh man, I didn't expect it. You just didn't expect what was going to happen. Right. Like John's and the team, I know it's written by multiple people. Like they
Jeremy Adams, Tim Sheridan, Jeff Johns. Yeah.
It's the crew. Like, wow. Just like, I would love to know how 3 people collaborate on a story like this.
Yes, exactly.
Like what? Like, did someone have an idea and then okay, but what if we do that? Like, how you collaborate? Like, is someone strictly like dialogue? Like, there's one person's story and premise. Like how does a team like that structure? Because you're used to you got Sheridan and Johns are pretty big names, and I'm not familiar with the third person that much, Mr. Adams. So apologies, but like how does that work and orchestrate? But like man, I was like, whoa. By the time the book ends, you're like, wow, this is crazy. And you're also like, at the same time, you're like, well, who's responsible for all this? I thought Flashpoint was done. Thawne doesn't seem to be involved. Tom Bats. We call him Tom Bat Tom. What do you want to call this guy? Like Thomas Wayne Batman is so damn
Well, there
long.
is such a thing as a wombat, so maybe you could just call him a Tombat.
I like Tom Bat.
Okay. I think a lot of people call him just Flashpoint Batman, but I like Tombat.
Again, can we just like try to shorten this up because he's not going anywhere? He needs a better nickname.
Tombat.
He's appeared and never disappeared. So he seems to have some staying power here. But Bat Tom was just really interesting as usual. And then I'm still trying to figure out this whole kid thing. You got Harvey Dent's kid, and then you got I forget who this guy is called.
Is Eric Dexter?
Knows this dude. I have no idea. I don't know, Daniel Boone with the raccoon on
there
his
you
head.
Go. Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone. I'm still trying to figure out. Eric, hit me up because I forget that guy's name.
Our mutual pal, Justin Kowalski, he shared with us the Word Balloon Comics podcast, who had Jeff Johns on one of their most recent episodes, in which Johns talked a lot about Flashpoint Beyond. And back to your point of like curious on how 3 writers collaborate. He touched on it a little bit, but he didn't fully like go into detail. And that's something it'd be awesome to pick the mind of Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, and Jeff Johns, if we ever could. Jeff, this is kind of like your baby, from a decade ago. How did this idea even form about? And then you're like, okay, we've got a general idea. Okay, is it just Jeremy, you write issues 2, 4, 6. Tim, you write 1, 3, 5. You know what I mean? It's just really curious to me how
the level of the writers.
Yeah,
because Johns can be a bit picky. He doesn't. He likes writing multiple characters. He likes having a lot on his plate. He doesn't like to give anything up, really. Like at one point, DC had to tell him to like stop writing so much. So like for him to work with somebody like Sheridan, that just means there's a lot of trust there.
Yeah.
On Johns's part. So like you said, like again, your baby from a decade ago. I don't think Johns is writing another issue after this, right? Like I believe Tim takes the reins.
Oh, really? I didn't.
I thought Tim was taking the reins for most of Flashpoint Beyond. I think John was just kind of getting it going. I thought maybe I misread the article wrong, but that's what I just feel like. Again, I don't think Johns would work with someone who didn't vibe with, right?
I mean, on that podcast, he had a lot of great things to say about the other two, but I mean, also, even if he didn't like him, it's not like he'd go on a podcast and shit on him.
Well,
it definitely feels
he can go radio silent.
Yeah, he could just say nothing, but he had nothing but great things to say about the other two. And I think the other two have spoken about how great Johns is, and which Pete, you and I know that we like the man's work. We think Jeff Johns is great. This story so far, I mean, this is counting issue 0. There's 7 total, so it's almost a third of the way through. But I'm all in.
Okay, I think I'm mistaken. Johns is actually billed on the website with the other 2 writers as well. So I don't know. So
it's all 3 for all.
Yeah,
issues.
Maybe I read the article wrong. I apologize if I did.
But yeah, then Zermanico, the artwork is pretty awesome. Which I think we got a preview of it when Tom Bat goes down in the cave, and it's an outline of a bat broken up into like 5 panels, and you're seeing like him as he's getting dressed and ready and stuff. I think that is freaking awesome. It reminds me of J.H. Williams III, that kind of layout. And that's also meant as a compliment. I think the artwork is pretty awesome. And then, yeah, like you said, we get Tom Bat on the move here, the Aquaman stuff. And yeah, I won't say anything other than that. I think was really great. I like this Batman's attitude is in the sense of like, he even says in the issue at one point of the effects of something, and he's totally just like, I don't care. I really like the attitude of this Batman. I just don't want him to kill. Like this would be my ideal version of Batman if he did not kill. I feel like his killing days are over though, because as he says in his opening
monologue, kills 2 Atlanteans, doesn't he?
Shit, yeah. Never mind.
Dude, it's a whole page. It's a whole page. And it's like, no, it's just like,
whoops.
It's just boom, boom. It's
I'm
old
just there
school
thinking,
too.
I'm like, no, because he talks about how, this, he basically talks about Flashpoint and Barry Allen and his own son and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, but no.
Well,
and
he's
then,
also at the time in
a couple pages later.
He's also of the mindset of like, well, anything I do doesn't matter at this point. So it's like,
yeah,
literally he's playing with, all his cards out there.
Now, in this
so
character, you needed him put on the shelf after King's Run, right?
He's been used. I thought he was used poorly for a while.
For King's Run?
He was. Well, I think King's Run, it made, for me, I'm like, oh, this makes no sense for Batman. Like, in terms of just like, I wish even my comic book Batman would be a little bit more grounded than that. Like, that just seems a bit ridiculous. Batman from another time. I get what he was trying to do, but for me, for my Batman sensibilities, like, I don't need time hopping Batman to be like the major focus of a Batman storyline for a couple years.
I'm about to, because
I really like the Bat-Cat stuff.
The final book, which I probably brought it up on here before, pal Austin Rodriguez and I are eagerly awaiting the release of deluxe edition book 5 of King's Run, which takes you up through City of Bane, which is, aside from Bat-Cat, that ends the run. I'm going to read through all of King's Run again, but I thought that really worked for me. The inclusion of Tom Bat. He worked for me in what King was trying to do and what he was trying to accomplish.
The concept, yeah.
Like all of that worked for me. But I totally get what you said too, of like, okay, so it wasn't working for you. It was working for me.
It wasn't working for me until Williamson got a hold of him in Incarnate.
Well, that's what I was going to say is
slightly more heroic.
We were both in agreement of, okay, let's put him on the shelf. We don't need more. And then he was being more, you said it, Incarnate. I forget Justice League Incarnate, right?
What came before Incarnate? Like there was, there was something before that, but like it wasn't really until Williamson got his hands on him.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay, I'm liking what they're doing. So again, it depends on how you're writing something.
So it's actually funny. So back in January, when Tim Sheridan was on this show, he and I, he said an announcement was coming soon about a project he was working on. And we got done recording and we were just talking, shooting the shit about Batman stuff. And I don't remember if he brought it up or if I did, and brought up Flashpoint Batman. And I said to him basically what I said to you, and I was like, I think that like he needs to be put on the shelf for a while, though. I don't think we need more of Thomas Wayne Batman right now. It feels like we just got a lot of him. But I know my friend Pete said, then I think it was Incarnate, of like, he's doing pretty good there. And then it was like the next day or the day after was like, hey, I'm working on a Thomas Wayne Batman story.
That's funny.
And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Why the guy talks to me, I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, again, it's just like, as long as it's written well, but everyone has different tastes. Like I don't think he was written well in the past.
That's where I was just kind of wondering, like, for someone who we were ready to take a break from, and yet he still remains, pretty popular in DC stories. It seems like he's still working.
Well, I also feel like he belongs in this too. Like, I feel like he belongs. If you're going to do a sequel to Flashpoint, I feel like Thomas Wayne. He was
the breakout character in that was Thomas Wayne Batman. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Easily. People love Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yeah,
dude, Jet's got a Thomas Wayne Batman action figure.
He sure does.
And we all know how he hates Batman and guns.
He does. So yeah, there you go. If you aren't reading, it's not too late to jump aboard. Flashpoint Beyond issue 0 and issue 1, both are pretty damn good. Pete and I are really digging them both. Next up, that came out that Tuesday, Batman Beyond Neo Year #2. I think you read last month and you weren't too crazy about it, Pete. And I said I liked it. I think I was in.
Mm-hmm.
This issue is freaking weird.
Yeah, this issue is kind of meh for me. I enjoy the artwork. I enjoy seeing Batman Beyond. Like, I like that costume. Obviously,
looks slick.
The 2-page spread with the Jokers was fantastic. But like the story itself is very just meh.
I'm
sorry. It's just
green
not
dreadlock terrible trio connected, whatever that is. Like, yeah, lost me. Just lost me.
I may.
I'll read next month, but there's a lot on next month. If I feel the same way, I'm done. I think.
Yeah, I think. I'll give the 3 issues in the drop. You know, like, because it's what is this? Is this please tell me this is 5.
6.
6.
6 is good.
Yeah, 3 is good. I'll give it 3. I'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but right now it's not got me.
It's too bad because the look of the suit, I think I've always liked the look of the Beyond suit, and like, you know, Sean Murphy, which we'll talk about later, drawing the Beyond suit here in this Beyond, the original series of Beyond suit, and like the Funko of the Batman Beyond, like all that stuff. I like the suit. I think it's cool. It's just, I don't know what all you can do with the story. And I'm like,
the last time I didn't like a Batman Beyond book, it was like, it wasn't, I forget who it was. Somebody else was Batman Beyond. It was, oh man, was it like Dick Grayson of like a different Earth or something? Maybe it was Tim Drake of a different world. I don't remember, but it was already confused. I was like, oh man. But Batman Beyond books sometimes can be hit or miss. You know, they can be. They all haven't been as successful as a TV series, in my opinion.
I think I started reading the Rebirth, and I got a couple of issues into that, and I liked it, and I dropped, and I just got behind and kind of forgot about it. The volume
before that, I think, was pretty weird.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's got a weird publication history, but it's always a title I check out. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. You know.
Mm-hmm. That's it for the first Tuesday. The second Tuesday, Batman Urban Legends number 15. The 8th story, Hounded.
How many of these did you read?
My God, that's it.
Wow, that's a lot of money to spend for one.
I've never been so entertained and sad about an animal comic book story before.
It's a very, very interesting thing. A lot of emotions.
It is, a lot of over freaking animals. But
what do you think of this Joker design? I like it. I don't mind the hair.
Yeah. I mean, you look back at the one that you just talked about in the backup story of Batman. This design totally works for me a lot better. Not my favorite, but far from my least favorite. Works in this story. We'll say that. The animals work in this story.
I don't know how they work.
Puppy Ace.
Yeah.
The chicken.
Yeah.
God bless. The turtle. I mean, we already knew the power of turtles, though. If you're a child of the 80s, you know how great turtles are. But basically where this story's been working toward, and the last part is next month. Man, these asshole villains toward animals. The Lex Luthor, he's a surprise. The ace in the no pun intended. The ace in the hole here. He had a great moment.
I'm wondering though, like, what happens when the Justice Pets meet up at the destination and Batman's fighting Bear? Like, what's going to happen? Are the
that Justice poor Bear?
Yeah, like,
just its resting face is just sad.
I know, but like, is Batman going to fight the Bear?
He's going to evade the Bear.
Like, and how are the Justice Pets going to react to that? That's
the Justice Pets are going to find a way to get in the cage and get Batman.
People must be thinking of like the upcoming movie that's coming out. Like, this is nothing like that. Like, it's not nearly as lighthearted.
This was a hard PG-13 light rated R story of.
It's very violent.
It's very violent. It's, I mean, Mark Russell, the writer, and then Carl Mostert, apologies, artist. Like, I hope that this gets collected in its own trade. It'll be mine. I want this.
You should have story. The Zdarsky Red Hood story.
Yes,
this story, and then there was another one I really liked earlier on. We need to have the best of the best.
It's. I mean, so for me, I've only been reading Batman Urban Legends because of this story. So after it wraps up next month, we'll see. Pete, have you read do you have anything else to recommend out of this one?
The Birds of Prey story I can't get into. I'm sorry. It includes a lot of the tiny characters I didn't like, Miracle Molly and such. So I wasn't into that.
Meh.
The Batman Plastic Man story is worth reading.
Okay.
It is. Like, I feel like there's always one story in this book where Ryan's like, I didn't read all of them. I just read the Ace. And it was like,
It was the question last month, wasn't it?
Yeah. In the same light of the question, not a long story, very quick, but it's Batman and Plastic Man, and I think it's worth reading. I was
I'll
like,
go back and read them.
This is surprising. The Batman's a ton story. I want to like it. I'm trying to like it. I really, really want to.
You're sticking with it. You've been reading.
I can't get. There's something about. There's moments in there that are really good between the two of them, but overall, I feel like the story's just a little bit muddled. But,
the second chapter of that one lost me, and I was done.
Yeah, it's got one more left. I hope it kind of ends on a high note. But like the Batman Z moments are really good. It's just everything else in between is kind of just.
And it's still a pricey book to have one excellent, and then sounds like you get one excellent, maybe two excellent, one and then two. That's pretty pricey for an $8 book. But I guess, like I said, if you do the math, remember this is a math. It's a math class for you. $4 a comic.
It's on price.
2 stories, and it does become let's see. I've been including, because I know you've been reading, I Am Batman. How's that one still working out for you?
This is great.
Awesome. I Am Batman cool. #9.
Yeah, just like I like how it's a really good mystery. Really good use of police corruption and government corruption, and just police working with Batman. Fascinating. The mayor of all the high. It's got all the like the cool little notes that a good Batman story should have. Corruption, police, the mayor. Do we trust Batman? Do we trust Batman? We're reluctantly working with Batman. So if like it's just not Bruce Wayne, but it hits all the Batman notes, and it's in New York City and not Gotham. So it's cool. It's I think if you're not reading this, you're doing yourself a disservice, at least from where I picked up, which I think is issue 6.
So Lauer, you call yourself a fan, read this damn book.
That's what I'm basically saying, like, you should be reading this book.
Okay.
And the real world, and just Jace Fox, like his attitude towards Batman, and he's like figuring it out, and it's kind of cool. This is like, to be brutally honest, I'm enjoying this early stages of Batman story more than I'm enjoying Batman the Night. If we're comparing early stages,
that's coming up here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, so
I need to go back to issue 6 of I Am Batman and start reading.
Whenever he starts in New York, I don't remember. Everyone's telling me issues start from the beginning too. I'll have to track those down, but I started when he first appeared in New York City. It's either
6 was the one that I think you were telling me before we even, because I wasn't including it before, and then you read 6, and I think you tweeted out how much you were liking 6, so then we included it there, and you've been pretty high on the book since.
Yeah,
so there you go.
In a month of pretty meh books, that's definitely one of the standouts.
Nice. That does it for Batman centric. The second Tuesday, the next Tuesday, May 17th, we have Batman Superman World's Finest #3. Woof.
Yeah.
The artwork, as I told you with the first issue, I don't know how much this will be my thing. This month I didn't buy this issue because I got very much
Laura's Batman's must buy, as is his Justice League.
Yes, his art is fantastic. We know that's a given. Every issue you don't even have to read it, and you know that his art's going to be great. The story it's just not, I don't know, man. It's not for me.
This one had less moments than the last, in my opinion. Like, there were some good moments. Like, I liked issue 1. Issue 2 is kind of all right, but it had like good moments. This was just kind of like, I don't know. The artwork's good. I don't know if I'm feeling this, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of Mora's Supergirl suit, at least the top half. It's just kind of funky to me, but it's still good artwork. I don't know. This is not really my thing, I think.
I know that it's not my thing. I'm not really Batman. He's like in hell, fighting things. That's not.
The Flash stuff's cool. Mirror Master's cool. Like, there's cool moments.
I agree with that. It almost feels like it's a Justice League book there for a quick moment.
It does. I really like Mora's Green Lantern. His Hal Jordan's pretty awesome looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great
shot of the Batmobile at the end. But,
yes.
I don't know. It's Mark Waid though. Like I know it's Waid, so maybe I'll hang around a little bit longer. But 3 issues in, and I'm still kind of. I'm gonna finish out the story and see where it goes from there. How's that? Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think we can do that. I plan to, because I was gonna say, I was wondering, because was this announced it's an ongoing series, or did it have a limit, or we don't know either way yet?
If it has a limit, usually it says of, and it's not. It's just got a 3. So I think until canceled.
Okay. Because I was kind of hoping that maybe this arc would wrap up after this issue, and then I'm like, okay, I can give a chance on the next arc. Maybe I'll like a as you and I just
Dark Knight style.
As you and I just talked last episode, even, you weren't a fan of Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, and then look what the follow up to that arc was. Like, great story. So I want to give it that kind of chance, as long as this isn't like, well, no, it's ongoing, so it's going to be like 29 issues, all this story. I'm like, oh hell. So yeah, there you go. Batman, Superman, World's Finest. A meh from both of us. Sadly, Batman the Night #5 also meh, maybe even less than a meh. Like I kind of just don't. It's a bummer how
it goes down each book, man. Each book is.
I think the first issue was so good. The second issue was really good, and then like you said, it just.
Were we just teased by fake Catwoman? Is that what were we just MILF Catwoman? Is that Stifler's Catwoman? Like, is that who do we want? What do we want to call this person? Were we just like in awe of like a young Batcat? Is that what it was?
I don't know,
because
but
ever since she's kind of been MIA, the book's taken a huge turn down.
I know at some point, I totally agree with that. Ever since, I mean, you and I think we spoke early on about even, I don't know how they're going to sustain 10 issues of this.
It's prolonged.
And I don't know, that was, it came in so strong, and I've been disappointed. So I'll keep reading.
Yeah, I drop this now. I might drop this and read it monthly just for you digitally, Paul Herman style.
That's what I'm doing for it, because of
there's a good chance I would, because it's not good. It's of 10. I'm halfway through. I'm not enjoying it. It doesn't seem to be selling the world on fire, and it's a bummer because Zdarsky's coming. This was supposed to be Zdarsky's Batman. Like, here you go. This is a taste. Here's 10 issues before he takes over. What is he taking over my title or yours? I can't remember.
Zdarsky's on.
Is it you?
Batman with him.
Yeah, because you're really pumped. Okay, yeah. So
and Ram V's on Detective.
Yeah,
so with Raphael Albuquerque.
I won that one. Easily. Like this is supposed to be the big thing. Like, hey, here we go. Before he takes over Batman, here's the origin of Zdarsky's Batman. Like, like he's taking over Batman proper, but we're gonna get the origin of that version of the character. And this version, in this universe or whatever. And it's like, okay. And it's like, you know what? Like, you guys just leave it alone. It's year one and everybody else. And it was cool to try to see like his fighting in like the monastery and stuff like that against the other guys. But like, again, not consistently good enough for me, I think.
Is his ally Ghostmaker?
I believe this is Ghostmaker. Yes.
Not a Ghostmaker fan here.
Well, wait till
thanks, Tynan.
Wait till you get to the annual.
Oh, God. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, I'm not feeling this. I'm sorry. I know
I'm not either. If you're reading it and you are getting a lot out of it, lucky you.
I'm not feeling you, bro.
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
Let's move along to the next Tuesday, May 24th. Had Batman Beyond the White Knight #3. Mm-hmm. Pete, if it has White Knight on it, I'm gonna be a fan.
Yeah.
Still holds true. Still digging the hell out of this. Cliffhanger, if you will. A what moment at the end of last issue is explained at this one, but I love the old man Bruce, the Silver Fox, how he touches up his suit. We get Terry McGinnis looking great in the Batman Beyond suit. All these, Terry's being manipulated by Derek Powers. So we get a confrontation between the two. We get a spoiler alert. We get a Robin suit, which I think looks pretty badass. I think it's not action heavy, but it's definitely planting the seeds and building the connections and the relationships of everyone for there to be a big culmination in this back half, because there's going to be 4 issues, then like the 2 Red Hood issues, and then the back 4 issues. So I really think the front half is focusing on laying the groundwork there on Dick Grayson, it seems like he's kind of like the enemy of them.
He's a dick. He's a dick. Yeah,
but that's not gonna.
But it's probably my biggest complaint actually with Murphy's, and that's it's not a complaint on his work. I personally don't like a bad Dick Grayson, and but overall, like this story is this issue is building to bigger things. I'm already enjoying this more than Curse.
You weren't high on Curse, right?
I wasn't high on Curse, but this is there's a lot of fascinating elements to me. In this story, you've got everything. Bruce Wayne mentally, Bruce Wayne and Harley Quinn. That's fascinating. Terry McGinnis and Derek Powers is also very interesting. I like what Murphy did there. I don't like that Powers was able to figure out Bruce Wayne was Batman. I don't know if it's spoiler or not. I'm sorry. It's just, for me, people knowing heroes' identities is always a bit of a gripe. But I like the motivations of all the characters and everything. Again, the cameos of the Batmobile, love it. I'm so happy the Reeves Mobile made it in there. That's for you, Justin Kowalski. That was fun to see. Next, you get the
Batmobile shot. I feel like he definitely works that in somehow. I think we all always gush over that, and the fact that he was able to work in the patents in Batmobile was great.
The McGinnis family I loved. Bruce going into action was great. The backstory was interesting. And Duke Thomas, love it. Love to see him. I'm glad he's back. But a lot of positive stuff. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
I love this Duke Thomas more than any other version.
Oh, I love Duke Thomas in general. Since We Are Robin, which I would love to discuss on the Batman Book Club one day. I'm a big Duke Thomas fan. I have his,
maybe that'll change.
Staring at his action figure right now. He's glorious.
I've never read it.
I wish he would wear the helmet. I wish he would go back to being. I just like him more of a Robin than Damian personally. But
I love this Duke Thomas, this version of the White Knight
Duke's
universe.
Awesome. I'm pumped. Yeah, I think you would like We Are Robin a lot too if you ever read it.
Okay, well, I might, because created by my man Lee Romano. Pete recommendation. When Pete recommends, I gotta listen. But what Murphy still does in this, every character's shadow is their suit.
Oh, that's such a great,
I love it.
You.
Every time he does it.
So cute. It's cute.
It's so
as
cute.
A comic book fan, it's cute. It's just cute. I love it.
I love every time that he does that. But story's building. I think it's.
There was one time where he made it seem like the word bubble came from the shadow instead of the character. Did you pick up on that?
I'd have to.
I think it's a Bruce Wayne one.
Okay.
And it's right here. This page.
Where's he at?
This rectangle.
Towards the beginning with Harley.
Yeah. Like the bubble comes from the shadow of Batman and not Bruce Wayne. I thought that was an interesting decision.
Well done, Pete. That's funny.
I thought it was very creative.
I like it. I like this book.
Murph's the man.
He is. He can do no wrong.
While I'm not a fan of Curse, I'll give him the man has reinvented a version of Batman that's so fresh and so interesting that honestly we haven't seen a version of Batman like that since the first time Thomas Wayne jumped on the scene. In Flashpoint. I know it's like not that long.
A lot of artists and creators try. And as much as they try, I mean, you say White Knight Batman, you know what that is. Flashpoint Batman, you know what that is.
Yeah.
So he's definitely created a pretty awesome
definitely one of those
section of this character's history. So I'm in. I love it.
Batman and Chaps.
Let's see. Moving along that same Tuesday, Batman Fortress #1.
Dude,
did you get around to this one?
That's a Batman book. That is an A-class Batman book.
burst onto the scene. Where'd it come from? Loved it. Written by Gary Whitta. I'm unfamiliar with him.
Totally unfamiliar.
Art by Derek
totally
Robertson.
Concept. Yeah.
Sorry, Derek Robertson. You and I, we talked about the most recent Legends of the Dark Knight miniseries.
Mhm.
He did the first three issues.
That.
He wrote and illustrated, and we both loved.
Oh, he wrote. Okay, great.
That arc. And yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he did both, and I loved his art. Something interesting that he does is that the back, like the borders of his panels are black. So both books, it's almost as if it's taken a animated series approach and like it's printing on black paper or something. You know, it's it for this book, it makes it seem sense because Gotham's supposed to be pitch black. But I think for Legends of the Dark Knight, it did the same thing, and it just adds a little mood. You know,
I'm flipping through. It seems there's only one panel with a white border.
Okay,
that's interesting. Yeah, everything else is black. Good call.
But I think this is, I don't know, this is it's a Batman book. Gotham City, no power.
We'll see where it goes, because the premise is, again, like alien invasion. Batman's apparently like the last hero around to kind of.
And the next cover has Cyborg and Hawkman on it. There might be a third, maybe Green Lantern or something like that. So I don't know if it's going to turn into a Justice League book or if it's going to remain.
And Superman is MIA. Like they make that clear.
And that's the mystery of it. It seems like, and it's trying to figure out, it's not just Gotham. It seems like it's worldwide. And the issue ends, something's in the sky that's doing this. So it's like, it's going to be like, okay, so alien. So as of right now, because you know how I am.
Man, Independence Day.
Ooh. Okay. Not then.
I don't know if that's where we're going, but yeah, no, totally skeptical.
Chapter
about
1
because again, it is Batman Aliens, but I'm like, dude, this is a great introduction to a story. Like,
yeah,
I'm all in. Who knows what direction this story will take in the upcoming issues, but I'm in for it. How many issues is this? Because it doesn't have an of in the number section.
This is 8.
Shouldn't they just put 1?
Yeah, I know. It's
who knows
weird.
what they do with. Wow.
No, but I follow Derek Robertson on Twitter, and I think for some reason I know that it's 8 because I think he said something on there.
Okay,
I've come across that. I'll by next month when we talk about it, I'll definitely look into it to make sure that that's confirmed. But yeah, Batman Fortress issue number 1 kicked a lot of ass.
Yeah,
huge
definitely pick this one up. You're not going to regret this.
And lastly, that Tuesday, Pete, it's your book, Detective Comics number 1060. Take it away.
Dude, I want to know what Ivan Reis is thinking with this Riddler design. Like, I am not afraid of this leprechaun at all. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you guys want to bitch and complain about Dano wearing a mask and plastic wrap on his head, but this guy looks like just so unintimidating. I don't want to hear anyone complain. And I know like a lot of them don't read comic books.
But Pete, he's got a bowler hat on.
Yeah, like he's wearing a green suit and he's got this stupid mustache and beard. Looks like Raleigh Finger's uncle. Like, give me a break. This design is horrible. I'm sorry. It's my only real negative about anything, but it's absolutely atrocious. It looks so bad. The killing time Riddler is great. I like mimic that. The one that was going on in what was it, where he was wearing a leotard recently, that was fine too. I just the Riddler should not have facial hair. He should look baby faced, if anything. I don't know. It's so unintimidating. I see this guy. I wish he looks like, I don't know, Clock King from like the TV, right? Didn't Clock King from the 60s show kind of have this look? Or was that the man? I don't remember. But this stupid mustache is horrible. Oh my God. I'll take the Earth 1 Riddler design over this thing. Like, this is just bad. And if you like it, I apologize. That's just my opinion. It's horrible. So, not trying to piss you off. It's just I just happen to have a microphone in front of me. But overall, the story is great. Like, I like the detective story. I like where this is going, and I like everything else Reese puts on the page. The tag team of Tamaki and Shamas is doing a really good job. I don't know what the Donovans have to do with this, but I love Deb Donovan. She's been a character since she's been introduced. I love everything she brings to a Batman title. She's kind of like the Bullock of reporters. She's got that type of attitude, and she's just a really strong character. I love that her daughter's involved in this, and then her daughter's a judge. I kind of like how that ties things together. Just so I'm all in. I want to know what these citizen criminals are. Like it's very in vein of almost a Batman kind of like lower word. Like he's like sawing, not sawing, like sawing, but like saw as in the movie, like that type of like manipulation these people into doing his deeds, and what the judge has to do involved in that, as well as the backup story I really liked, written by Cena Grace. And that was cool. Just it seems to really be a story focused on mental health. Gotham Girl Interrupted, being a superhero, trying to do it on your own, not trying to ride Batman's coattails, not wanting to be a superhero, but then, you know, when your friend is apparently murdered, that's enough to drive Gotham Girl back into the superhero business. So that's fascinating too. I think you should read that. I'm enjoying it a lot. I enjoy what Grace is doing with Gotham Girl a hell of a lot more than what Tom King did, but then Tom King did introduce me to Gotham Girl. So it does come full circle now, doesn't it? So Detective 1060 was a good book if you can get past the Riddler's look.
I can get past the Riddler's look. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. It's fine.
That's my least.
Doesn't bother me that much. I think I giggled last month when I saw it at first and thought maybe he was going to reveal himself and take off the facial hair or whatever, and he didn't. So it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. But I think the story is really good. Definitely next month I'm going to read 1059 and 1060 before reading because this is only a 3-issue arc. I'm going to read so that and catch it all, because I think I know this issue. I was trying to remember everything from last issue since it's definitely building on each other. But I think Tamaki, she's great. Like, since she took over Detective, in which she had to follow a really good team as it was, and Peter Tomasi and Brad Walker. Yeah, Ooks is calling in the background. That was a really good team. And yeah, she came in and she's done really cool stuff with her books. So she's only got 1 issue left before Ram V and Raphael Albuquerque come aboard. But yeah, I think this is a cool Riddler story. I'm really interested and intrigued on seeing how it all adds up. There you go.
That's it.
Final Tuesday of the month, May 31st. Batman the Annual.
Oh man.
So here we go. I thought that this was going to be strictly because I think it was like Batman 124. Nope, not 124. That's next month.
We're only on 123, Ryan.
121 or 120, something like that. It mentioned about Ghostmaker is going to take over Batman, the leader of Batman Inc., and check out the Annual. And I think you could hear me roll my eyes at that one. The Annual had more Batman in it than I thought it was going to.
Mm-hmm. ...
Wow. But I did not like this. Batman was in it like a fourth of the amounts, and then it was all Ghostmaker just coming right in, and he's such a badass and a hero. I think that's my biggest complaint with Ghostmaker is the fact, or no, I don't know, it's kind of tied. So one, he was like murdering people and shit, and then Batman just made a joke with him, and he's like, "Hey, we're best friends." And then second, we were best friends. We're always best friends. He was forced on us, I think. Like, man, they were like, "We're gonna make Ghostmaker fetch," to borrow Mean Girls term. And they're just jamming Ghostmaker into the Batman universe, and we have no say about it. And I'm like, I don't like him. It's not good if you just like somebody comes out of nowhere and it's like, Batman, I'm better than you. We have a history, like just telling you this rather than it being organic. It's just all forced. Yeah. And I think it's just like I roll my eyes at Ghostmaker. Yeah, the cat's getting pissed off about it even. I just kind of roll my eyes at the use of Ghostmaker because I just don't think he's a great character. And there's no interesting story about him because there's just like they didn't give us time to build an arc with him really or anything. It was like, here's a character, we're going to tell you what he did and why he's great, period. Accept it. And I don't like the character. I think he's not good. And Clown Hunter, I don't really give a shit about, but Clown Hunter, at least they let Clown Hunter have an arc. I know you're a fan of Clown Hunter. They gave him an arc to build up to it. And I'm just like, man, I'm not reading Batman Incorporated when that series launches in like August, I think it said, because I don't care. Ghostmaker is a big thumbs down for me. The annual, I didn't care for the annual. Sorry to Ghostmaker fans. I know he has some fans. He wouldn't continue to show up in these DC books if people didn't like him. So he's got an audience, and that's cool. Not me.
Yeah, I don't like Ghostmaker, and I don't like Batman Inc. So this was a tough read for me. I actually stopped at some point and stopped reading it because it was just, I can't stand anything. I think Batman Inc.
I have to write a review on it for Batman on Film, so that's the only reason I didn't skip it. Because I would have entered this recording and told you, Pete, I didn't even read this.
I think Batman Inc. sucks. I think it's a stupid concept. I hate everything about it. It's one of the dumbest things they've ever done in print, in my opinion. It's absolutely horrible. Like the whole franchise of Batman is just so stupid, in my opinion. It's just like, okay, it's a great way to give away who you are, Mr. Wayne. So I don't like this, and so I gave it a shot. I was reading it. I don't like what they did with Ghostmaker. His costume, I love his old costume. I hate this new look he's got. He looks almost like a member of the Trench. Like he looks like my Trench action figure. He looks just blue with that like weird scaly thing on his head.
Your Trench action figure looks better.
So yeah, I'm not going to read Batman Inc. I would never read Batman Inc. I don't like Batman Inc.
If Batman was
the only thing I don't agree with Chris Clow about is Batman Inc. To be honest with you, everything else I'm like, yeah, Chris, you're right. You're way smarter than me. But when it comes to Batman Inc., I'm like, no, you are totally wrong. This sucks.
I mean, I wouldn't have just flat out checked out the Batman Inc. one unless like Batman was heavily involved, and that says a lot about Batman Inc. as a concept. But like how they were involved in that Williamson arc on Batman, just a few months ago, it just seems like I'm the only person who liked it. I liked that because Batman was the star. They were supporting characters.
Yeah, I didn't even like that.
It was utilizing, I don't know. I didn't mind that at all, but like, yeah, force Ghostmaker in there, and that's how you can make sure I don't read it. I don't care for that aspect at all.
I just don't like the fake Batman Ghostmaker relationship. It's just like, where did this guy come from?
Yeah,
I've wanted to strangle Ghostmaker many times. I know he can be arrogant, but he
can be a lot when he's off murdering
I was like,
people, but
where was this Batman when Jason Todd was trying to get acceptance?
I know he kills people, but he's gonna lead Batman Incorporated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good.
Okay.
I will say though that Ghostmaker is getting a McFarlane action figure. It does look really cool. I won't buy it because I have no reason to, but it does look like a cool action figure if you like ninja figures and stuff.
Yeah, okay, so that does it for Batman centric. Okay. Let's hop into some honorable mentions. Pete, we missed the Task Force Z last month, but we got a double dip this month.
I don't think we did miss it last month. Didn't 2 issues come out this month?
2 issues this month, yeah, but last month we didn't get any.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you.
Yeah. So we got issues 7 and 8 this month. Story is still awesome. Mm-hmm. I think. Matthew Rosenberg. There's Eddie Burrows isn't on the art. I forget the name of the artist. Please forgive me. I thought I had it down.
He does 7, not 8.
Oh, Burrows did 7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Jesus Marino, Jack Herbert, and Vicente Cifuentes. 3 artists, but it wasn't that like it wasn't overly.
I'm sorry, he just did the cover. It's weird. He's listed on the cover as an artist, but he is actually just the cover artist. I've never seen him do that before. He's not credited as an artist. Interesting. Okay,
love his art, but these other artists that they used are good too. I think the book looked good. The story remains interesting on how they're going to do 12 issues of this story, and you think that they'd run out of the idea, but it's moving.
Interested to see how it wraps up, man. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's funny because it's like you said, 12 issues, but I'm like, wow, like I want, not that I wanted to wrap up now, but I'm like, man, like okay, like I'm just like, wow, I'm so curious as how this ends because Rosenberg, as we know, does like the twist and the turn, and While I liked 8 a lot more, I thought 7 was kind of and Rosenberg every once in a while was entitled to a dud in my opinion. 8 was really fascinating.
Yeah.
8
they did. It's almost like they did. It felt like it did a lot when in reality it's cause a distraction to keep Batman busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then while Jason is taking on the rest of the Bat family, that's basically the story, but it means a lot to the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the drama with that was created between all the characters, I think was awesome. Your boy Solomon Grundy shows up.
Right. Love it.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And they got one over on Batman and the Bat family, and not in a way that makes you like roll your eyes. It felt like it was good stuff. Worked out well. So yeah, Task Force Z continues to be like a book that I really look forward to reading each month, and 4 issues left, and yeah, it's great.
No complaints here.
Opposite effect. Remember Suicide Squad get Joker? Remember how that story kicked off 6 months ago?
I haven't read it yet. I haven't read it because of the delays, which I'm very thankful for, because I would have forgotten what happened by now. I didn't read it for the show, so I will let you take over.
I think I did.
I think I did. That's never.
I think I remember all the elements of the story. I was high up on those first two books.
Very, very.
This one felt pretty disappointing.
Really, did not like how it finished.
No, and then it leaves you to interpret something, which I'll ask you about whenever you finish reading it. So, Suicide Squad get Joker, like when it's collected. If I don't know if I could recommend that you just buy it, because I mean, I need to reread it all again, like in one sitting or something. Read all 3 books, because maybe the delay did have a factor in it, because I didn't go and reread the first 2 books. But I felt issue 3 was disappointing, and I think I looked up some other reviews to see if I was on an island with Batman 66. And
no, stop.
I wasn't alone. So I'll leave it there since you didn't read it. Pete, a book that I've been looking forward to because it looks freaking bonkers. Jurassic League #1.
I think for some reason I couldn't get my hands on that one. I have to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I was in a rush and I didn't look at the books.
Gotcha.
It's been getting
dinosaurs and DC heroes.
Everyone loves it.
Frickin' A. It was awesome. I forget all the names. Yeah, by now, I mean, I've got it right here. Let me just.
Is it Fat Rex?
It is not. Ask me some more questions.
I don't know. What is it? Wondersaurus?
No.
Super Stego. Like, I'm trying to figure out what you call it.
I'm just going to be silent. I want you to just keep guessing.
Well, it's either that or dead air, so it's one or the other.
Yeah, you just keep going.
So, oh man, what would you call? Oh, Robin. Could you just call him Raptor? Could Robin just be Raptor, just with a big old R on his chest?
Well, this bat dino is in Gotham City.
I dig it.
It's hard to say.
Gotham.
Do you want me to tell you some of the other characters that are in it?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'd love to hear.
Batwalker.
Who is that?
Batman.
Batwalker. Interesting. They call him Batwalker. Okay.
Jokerzard.
That sounds like a Pokemon.
Or Jokerzard. Or however you want to pronounce it. Jokerzard.
Jokerzard, go!
Jokerzard, go!
Where is it? I choose you.
That's a pretty great scene. Black Mantisaurus.
Oh my god, that's so cool. All right, I gotta check this out. I gotta look, because Frank liked it a lot. I believe Nico was into it. I saw it get a lot of praise. A lot of people were pumped, to the point where I was like, this sounds like this is going to be an animated movie very soon, just by Twitter reactions. Like, everyone seems to think this is a really cool idea.
Trimascara, because they're all Triceratops.
I like that. Okay. Wonder Woman's a Triceratops. Okay, not bad.
Yeah, I thought I read this twice. I'm forgetting the names, and I told myself I needed to write down the names. I
just think it's an interesting concept.
Wonder Dawn. There you go.
Wonder Dawn.
She rides a pterodactyl.
That's amazing.
Because why not? And Super Soar.
Is it an invisible pterodactyl?
Super Soar. Oh my god, this should be. You're a genius. That'd be great.
Invisible.
Yeah, Superstore.
pterodactyl.
In
That's cool. I gotta check this out.
in Metropolis.
Amazing. So
It's ridiculous, but
it's not taking itself
ridiculously
too seriously, but it's having fun. I like that.
Brontozaro.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And I mean Giganta.
Isn't that her name anyway?
Yes. But these are just some names mentioned. Pete, if you can, anybody listening, if you can track it down. The first issue, ridiculously fun.
Awesome.
Like, it was a blast.
This I definitely will check out.
Yeah, please do. It was a lot of fun. Let's see where we at now. Nightwing number 92. Pretty good. I mean, I'm just like a continuing reader of that book now.
Here's my thing on
just
Nightwing
consistently
here,
pretty good, and Bruno Redondo's art is pretty great.
My thing on Nightwing here is it's good. It's not as amazing as all you people are making out to be on Twitter. This is just this isn't Tom Taylor's best work. It's not his worst work, but it's solid. It's not amazing. It's not groundbreaking in any sense. It's a good Nightwing tale. It's a good Dick Grayson story. It's just not like, it's not like Wolfman level. I see people praising this like it's the best book that they read every month. And again, not a bad book at all by any means. Far from it. But again, there's nothing groundbreaking about this book. It's I'd
say the story itself is a solid B. The art to me is like an A-, because I think Bruno Redondo's art really stands out as something different from everything else that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. But I think it's just
the carnival scene's great.
It's a grounded story. Its focuses on relationships.
Christ.
Yeah, that's great.
That 2-page spread against the moon is beautiful.
It's based like really focused on relationships and stuff, which is cool. But I'm with you, and it's not to
really enjoying
to really shit on the book or anything at all. It's just like, no, there's other stuff. I'm more entertained by Batman Fortress #1 than Nightwing 92.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So let's see what else I got. All right, and then Shadow War Zone #1, Deathstroke #9, Robin #14, Shadow War Omega #1. Despite what you were saying, Pete, I did enjoy Shadow War.
Only because it had Batman in
it. Well, duh. No, I thought it was a good story. A lot of cool ninja fighting and stuff, and I mean stakes are raised. There's some deaths, but how much can you believe it's gonna stick? But you know what? For this story,
Inc. is better than Batman Inc. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But
overall, like I told you last month, and then I'll let you just go ahead and fire off all your thoughts.
Okay, let's put it that way.
I'm not totally familiar with because you'd been reading Deathstroke's book and Robin and stuff, so I wasn't totally familiar with Joshua Williamson's entire story for this, but I came in and I feel like I got a pretty good grasp of what was going on. I didn't feel lost by this. In the Shadow War Zone, which is just kind of like full of a couple of short stories. There's a really good Talia one in there that I enjoyed. That was kind of like a standout for me. I think the art was pretty damn good too. There's like one or two others in there I did like. There's one I think focused on Ghostmaker that I just didn't give a shit about. No surprise there. And then the big conclusion is about who was the fake Deathstroke that killed Ra's. Don't know who that is. All right, go ahead, take it away, Pete.
I really dug this. I think this story finished off really strong.
Cool.
It was a little bit in the middle there where I kind of was like, all right, let's see how it wraps up. Wraps up amazingly. Also, just going back to Warzone, really liked a lot more than Batman Urban Legends 14 if we're going to compare anthologies. Again, Ghostmaker story, you're right. Didn't like it, but I like my man Clown Hunter. The Harley Quinn story was great. The Raw story was good. The one with Talia was good. Black Canary was good. That was actually the Black Canary.
The Black Canary one, yeah, that one was cool.
Might be the best one in the book. Really cool stuff. I love how Canario is like one of the characters who kind of fits into the story, which I appreciate, because she was a big part of Deathstroke Inc. as well. Deathstroke 9 was great. Robin 14, and then you get to the end and you find out. I mean, do you want to spoil it, or how do you want to play this one here?
Let's count down from 5, then we're going to spoil Shadow War. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoil it, Pete.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to spoil it for you. Basically, the end is a character that came out of left field totally. If you're familiar with Deathstroke, Teen Titans lore, this should not actually come as a surprise to you, but it's actually Geoforce. And as you all know,
the hamster movie from like 13 years ago.
God, I hate you. I hate you.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, that's why I hate you.
Okay.
Just you can hear the utter disgust in my voice right now.
You continue, and I will make sure to look it up.
Like, I'm sitting here like, oh my God, Ryan, what, like, can you please, just, oh,
G-Force. Okay, never mind. It was G-Force, not Geoforce. All right,
Geo. That's how it's pronounced. It's Geo, Geo-Force. Are you talking about that stupid movie?
The movie is G.
No one's talking about that stupid movie. No one's talking about your dumb movie. That stupid movie. Geoforce. So we all know that Geoforce is brothers with Terra, who is Deathstroke's 15-year-old girlfriend from way back in the Marvel Wolfman. Oh yeah, dude. Read. What is the name? Now I'm drawing a blank because Ryan Lauer pisses me off. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Someone will know it. What was there? They even made him Judas Contract. Thank you. She's basically the driving force of the Judas Contract as his Deathstroke. So now Geoforce wants to take his revenge against Deathstroke and Talia, because Talia ruined his kingdom, because Geoforce is a prince in Event Leviathan. This is like hardcore DC fanboy stuff, guys. Like this is so out of Lauer's realm. He's like, Event Leviathan, what was that? I was like, it was a giant DC storyline that happened.
I do know the Judas
Batman tie-in.
I've seen the movie, the animated movie. I know that's a big story, and I actually read the Lazarus Contract was
that was good too.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that, and I think I bought digitally. Pete's favorite. You're talking about how I piss you off.
Yeah,
I think I bought digitally the Judas Contract, but I really want to read that. All right,
it's so good. So good. So just, and so to see Geoforce kind of act like this, I was like, whoa, this is again totally out of left field. Didn't see it coming, but I should have seen it a mile away. So really impressed with how this thing ended. Really had a lot of fun reading it from start to finish. I've enjoyed Deathstroke Inc. I thought the story was great. Deathstroke has been written really well, dating back to Rebirth. Priest did a wonderful run in Rebirth. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out as well. What is this? Is this another Rebirth era? What do we call this? I don't even know. But this current iteration of Deathstroke as well, Deathstroke Inc. is very good. Check that out. Overall, I've really enjoyed following the escapades of Slade Wilson and his family, and I think there were a lot of cool things that happened in this. So definitely go find it at your local comic shops. Read these books.
Yeah, I think this was for me, who knows a fraction of the amount of all the stuff that you do. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me. I think it'll read even better. I think, as everything does, it'll read better collected, to where I can just in like 3 sittings, maybe just knock it all out. Because I wasn't even that annoyed by the Shadow War Zone, short stories.
No, that was great. Yeah,
breakup. Like half of them I enjoyed, half of them I didn't. Which I think that's better than some of these other kind of tie-in stuff like that. So yeah, I think Shadow War overall, I think, was a success. Was pretty fun. So all right, what about your honorable mentions, Pete? What do you got?
As usual, Future State Gotham. Just this book gets bonkers and wackier and more insane every time you read it. Nightwing is now Batman. I Am Batman is Batman. There is a new Joker. There is an old Joker. There are 2 versions of Damian running around the city. One of them happens to be Damian Batman 666. So, and just to top everything off, now, what's his name? Who's the oh man, Grifter has a flaming head now. So this book is absolutely insane. I read it for the shock value and fun. This isn't the greatest issue that they've printed, but it is very entertaining and very interesting. And I'm very excited to see where this title goes because it's absolutely insane. Still digging Batgirls. Really enjoying that. Spellbinder seems to be the main villain. Again, just really digging what Coolin and Conrad are doing. Just having fun with this title. I think you all got to read this book. It's just a blast. It is just, it's so much fun to see Oracle in a team. This is kind of like the Birds of Prey book I wanted. It's not the Birds of Prey book that's coming. So I don't know how much longer Batgirls has, but I'm having fun with it. Also, Catwoman 45, really great time with Harley and Catwoman. Just kind of like a Thelma Louise's tale. Right. And it ends with the introduction of a character who we have only seen in the animated series, and she's now making her debut in print, and she's doing so in Catwoman, and that is Red Claw. Red Claw has finally made the jump from small screen to print, and it is in Catwoman. So for those of you who love BTAS as much as me and Ryan, I think it's a must buy if you're a first appearance type person. I think you got to go check this out. Who knows if it'll actually be worth money someday, but it's also kind of a cool cover. It's Harley and Catwoman on roller skates, and just really fun stuff. And also,
show me that cover. 15, show me that cover.
Right here
on the roller skates. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, it's very college dorm. It's very college dorm. And surprisingly, one of my favorite books of the month, Harley Quinn 15. Harley and Batwoman are trying to clean up Harley's image. She's been framed for a bunch of crimes she didn't commit, and as you can expect, it is just a bonkers Harley Quinn tale. A lot of fun. Stephanie Phillips does a wonderful job writing dialogue here. She probably writes my favorite Harley Quinn dialogue outside of, let's say, the BTAS team, to be brutally honest. Like I just love the way that Harley speaks in the book. It's really fantastic. So that's very high on my list. It might be like my second favorite book of the month. So, high praise. And you guys all know how much I love the character of Batwoman. So take that for what you will.
Pete, that wraps it up. And it's like 26 issues
it's a lot
of comics we've talked about. And there's like 4 of those are oversized. No wonder. It was a lot of work. And overall for the list. Okay. So let's build up to this.
Yeah.
The Batman poll on the Twitter at the Batman BC. Every month I like to ask, of those listed, what was your favorite Batman comic in May? Not as easy to come up with 4 as previous months, because as you said, there weren't a lot of comics that I flat out loved from this list. But there were ones that I did. And so I want to ask, Pete, of these 4 that are listed, which one would you vote as your favorite? Flashpoint Beyond number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Beyond the White Knight number 3. Batman Fortress number 1. Or, I almost see, for me, those are like the 3 Batman.
You got to put Detective in there.
Love. You think Detective Comics 1060? Okay, there you go.
Actually, did you mention? Wait, did you put Killing Time in there?
I did not.
Then I would swap out Detective with Killing Time. I think Killing Time 3 is better than Detective.
All right. So, favorite Batman comic from that? Batman Killing Time number 3, Flashpoint Beyond number 1, Batman Beyond the White Knight number 3, or Batman Fortress number 1.
My book, if I had to pick my favorite Bat book of the month, it's Fortress. Yeah,
it's Fortress. Okay. Yeah, and then even out of all of them, let's say it's not a poll, you'd still say Fortress?
Yeah, no, Batman Fortress is my Bat book of the month, definitely, hands down.
Okay.
Definitely. Not even a question.
That's tough for me, man. So good. This is actually tough because I loved Flashpoint Beyond. Like I will say I liked Killing Time quite a bit, but the other 3 I like.
I'm not knocking the other stories. I just think
who would I vote for? I don't know who I'd vote for this one. Probably Fortress. I think I would.
Really? I thought.
Yeah,
you
it
were
came.
first.
I feel like the book just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did.
And
It
I
just
loved
came
it.
out of nowhere, and just like you're like really impressive stuff.
But I love the other ones, and I love.
Who knows
Jurassic
where
League.
the story goes? Like I said, like it's totally a Batman versus aliens thing. But like issue 1,
I voted Batman the Night #1 as my favorite book of that month. So how the mighty have fallen.
Well, yeah, that's a sad one.
Yeah, it's good.
That's sad.
Pete, thanks for coming back to the Batman Book Club. Thanks for reading 26 comic books.
I'm trying to every once in a while I think like how many of these books wouldn't I read if I wasn't on this show?
If I wasn't doing the podcast,
and I kind of feel like I think I read more than what you list because like we didn't talk about the Joker.
This is just Batman. We're not talking about the Marvel stuff you're reading, the back issue stuff that you read, like all of that. So
I just meant like we didn't even talk about Joker this week.
Yeah, because I thought Joker's done.
I thought that series was done. I thought issue 14 isn't the last.
14 was the last. I thought they came out last.
Was that last month? I didn't pick up books until I didn't pick up last week's books, so it got mixed in there. I read it this week.
It's an interesting question though, because I think some of these, if it wasn't for this show and our crazy idea of doing monthly.
Oh no, it says next to be concluded. So there's another issue coming. There's a Joker 15.
Some I probably would have just waited until a collection came out and then checked it out on Hoopla or something. But yeah, we're busy, but we like it. We're keeping up. We're putting in the work. So thanks again, Pete, for doing the work.
Read up on Geoforce. Put in the work.
And then watch G-Force.
No, don't watch G-Force. I don't know what the hell that is.
It's gonna be your new favorite.
It's like now you guys see what I deal with, and I talk to Ryan like every once in a while. Like sometimes, like I just talk to Ryan, and I'm just like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I mention obscure DC character. And he's like, I don't know who that is. It's like, what do you mean? Like, how do you? I can't.
How do you not know who this Geoforce from the 80s
like,
small arc on a comic book is?
Small arc. Judas Contract is not a small arc, young man. Like that story stems.
Pete's turning green.
Titans
he's gonna turn into She-Hulk.
Oh, I will, and even with bad CGI, I'll kick your ass. Like I'm just Ryan Lauer. Sometimes I need. That's why I picked the Supergirl from Krypton, because I was like, this is going to be like a little encyclopedia assignment for Ryan. He's got to do some homework
for a month of books that overall you felt were kind of like meh. I'm glad that you got Uxas in, and he got to do a celebratory discussion.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I still think I could have done a better job on that show, to be really honest. I just get carried away.
That's me every episode, Pete. I feel like I could have done it better.
Yeah, I mean, I love that story. I mean, I love Michael Turner.
If you haven't listened to it yet, check out the last episode where Peter R. Verra right here brought Darkseid to the Batman Book Club for the first time. Great discussion.
I did what no man could. I broke through the source wall.
True. Pete, why don't you go ahead and plug away wherever, if for some reason people aren't following you, let them know. What are you up to? Where are you at?
You could follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Zack Snyder's favorite platform, Verra, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow podcast number 1, that is the news-based podcast I co-host with the champion of Long Island, Eric Holzman, at straight_O_G. That's Straight Outta Gotham. Check out our Facebook group or our Facebook fan page. There's a lot of great discourse there. People talking about a lot of great fanboy topics, from everything from Eric's stuff, which is, of course, Star Wars, to Peter's stuff, which is Batman. We kind of take a look at everything and cover it all there. So check out those places if you want fanboy news. It's a great news outlet, great news aggregator that we have put together there. You can follow podcast number 2. That's the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast at Italians for Spidey on Twitter. That is a show I co-host with the dynamic duo of Chi-Town and Nicholas and Nico Caruso, the kings of Wrigley Field, as I like to call them, the guys who wave the W flag. Just a couple of Goombas talking Spider-Man. We're going to record hopefully a new episode this very, very soon. I've been so busy and slacking, I'm not even up to date on what we're going to talk about. So I got another long night ahead of me. But you can follow Team Yellow Oval as we just champion the return of the Oval in print and on the big screen. I'm on BatmanOnFilm.com. I'm on Batman on Film YouTube. I've got detective reviews. I've got comic book reviews. I've got interviews. I've got toy reviews and all that kinds of stuff. So I'm kind of everywhere. So I'm around
There you
town, and just hit me up.
And he's here at least once a month.
For
May was a good month. Had a double dose of Peter Verra.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, if you want to follow the Batman Book Club, you can do that on Twitter and or Instagram at the Batman BC for latest episode drops, upcoming episodes, sometimes even some giveaways. And like what I just said a few minutes ago, the Batman poll, where you can vote on what your favorite Batman issue of the month was. You can subscribe to the Batman Book Club on YouTube, where Pete and I are going to be doing something fun soon. Just go to YouTube, the Batman Book Club.
Something heavy.
If you want to, yeah, it's a weight. If you want to write into the show, you can do that at thebatmanbc@gmail.com. If you want to help support the show, there's a variety of ways you can do that. First, like I mentioned earlier, patreon.com/thebatmanbc. You can go to TeePublic and type TBBC for the Batman Book Club, where you can find a list of options of merchandise you can buy. T-shirts,
don't type that
notebooks.
in Google.
Okay.
Don't type that in Google.
TeePublic only. T-shirts, hoodies, notebooks, onesies for your little ones. But if you want to support the show and you don't want to spend any money at all, it's 100% a-okay. The best thing you can do is rate and review the show wherever you listen to it, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever. Rate and review the show, because the more reviews the show gets, the more it helps spread the word. And as we all know, the word is panic. So for Peter R. Verra, I am Ryan Lauer. And until next time, read my Batman comics.